Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting and give you my opinion on them, including today, Pluto TV adding hundreds of free movies this month. Apple is rebranding the OS for Apple TV and other devices. We'll tell you what's happening over there, and this is a new Apple TV. Also, PBS is suing Trump. We'll tell you why and what's happening here in a quick second. First though, if you're new here, you can always find a link to every story I talk about, and there's a lot more coming up here quick. In the show notes and in the first pinned comment, I'd love to hear your opinion. Take a look at them, read them. Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you. If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people. With that said, let's dive into it. Pluto TV has announced everything coming on demand in June. Now, Pluto TV this month did not give us a list of new channels coming, which honestly is not surprising. Pluto TV often doesn't announce new channels until they're live. Sometimes you get a list of like, hey, later this month here's 3 or 4 coming, and then they'll release like 10 new channels, for example. But these include a ton of movies. 28 Days Later, which of course one of the sequels coming up here, or did it just come out? A new one is out. Airplane 2, the sequel. April Fool's Day, Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3 are on here. Caddyshack, Clerks 2, Clerks 3. Interestingly, Clerks 1 maybe was already on there. Clueless, Days of Thunder, Dead Zone. The list goes on and on and on with this. I was just scamming over a bunch of them. I've said this before. If you haven't checked out these free ad-supported streaming services like Pluto, Stir, Fubo even has one, the Roku channel, the list goes on and on and on. The quality of the content on these has dramatically improved. Would highly recommend you check it out. But I'll put a link to this in the show notes. You can find a full list of everything coming to Pluto TV there. But really nice lineup of content. Fifth Element's in here. Employee of the Month 2006, Hugo, Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, The Last Crusade, and The Temple of Doom are being added, just to name a few. All right, let's keep moving along. Apple is reportedly about to rename all of its OSs. They have a big event coming up here soon. We'll have full coverage of anything cord cutting related. But with this, they're expected to rename the operating systems and kind of unify them a little bit, from their desktop computers to their phones and tablets to their Apple TVs. Now, we have heard rumors that their Apple TV is going to get a new user interface refresh. It's been reported. And we've been, for some time now, expecting a new Apple TV device. That has not come to fruition yet. Maybe this year will be it. I don't know. I think some of the reports are very accurate. That Apple has asked the question of, is there anything significantly better here that justifies us releasing a new one versus just continuing to sell a very capable, very powerful streaming player? Why rush out a new model that really doesn't do anything new when we already have something on the market that's just right? I do expect at some point we'll get an upgrade to the Apple TV. What that will be, we'll have to wait and see. I do think that the reports that Apple was going to release a cheaper one, I'm starting to think that's less likely. I do think Apple would benefit greatly from a cheaper stick to compare more in pricing with Fire TVs, Apple TVs, and Google TVs. I think that's one of the big reasons people are there. Many iOS and Mac users have a Roku. It includes AirPlay support in it. So why spend more than double and get a device that both are capable of doing the same thing? I think that's been a big thing holding them back. If they would get a cheaper Apple TV on the market, I think they would grow in market share. We'll wait and watch and see what happens. All right, next up, PBS is suing Trump. Now, this comes after the current administration has announced plans to end funding for PBS and NPR. NPR last week announced plans to sue Trump and filed that along with several other stations. Now PBS has done the same, arguing the president can't dictate what they do. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. In turn, remember, PBS isn't being shut down. They're just losing federal funding for it as they attempt to try to do something for it. We'll keep a very close eye on this, but I would be very interested to see how long this takes. I suspect this would be something that's going to be dragged out across many years with it, and we'll see how it goes. But at issue here is a funding cut. That the percentage of the money, and I've heard different numbers, everything from like 3 or 4% of their budgets public all the way up to 20%. And I think that depends on what PBS affiliate. If you're in a major city, right, like PBS New York City's probably got a lot more donors and funding than PBS and somewhere out there in Utah or Wyoming, for example. And so I've said this before, that while yes, PBS is not going away, it's definitely going to hurt, especially smaller PBS stations that get a bigger share of their monthly budget from federal funding. We'll see how this plays out. I'll have full coverage of it. It could have a dramatic impact on what PBS looks like in the future, as PBS may turn into a privately owned and run TV station. All right, next up, a news in my household we're really excited about. The King of the Hill revival gets a release date. So Hulu is getting, it's not a reboot, it's not a reimagined, it's a new season of King of the Hill with this. And it will premiere on Hulu on August 4th, 2025 with this. Now, King of the Hill originally ran from 1997 to 2010 and had a massive following. A lot of people argued that because it wasn't wholly owned by Fox, they decided to cancel it and replace it with a show that was owned by them. But the exact reasons between the termination are unknown. It actually had thought it would end earlier than the 2010 date, but they were able to get some extra time out of it, some extra seasons. Now, though, it's returning, and we got an early look at it. Hank apparently went international to Saudi Arabia to run some type of propane business over there to grow his nest egg so he can retire. Now he's retired and returned to Arlen, Texas, in what's called a very changed Arlen, Texas, after years of being gone. Bobby Hill's in Dallas. And let's be honest, the whole show has always been commenting on the current state of the world. From President Bush when he was in office, or was referenced repeatedly, to Y2K, to other major social and political things that happened. It'd be very interesting to see how King of the Hill interacts with today's world. We love this show. It's a show you'll often see running on repeat in our house. Very excited for the reboot, but coming in early August, reboot there. Let me know. Are you a fan? Let me know. All right. We recently talked that we hit the anniversary of Seinfeld's final episode, but this weekend, it's hard to believe, 35 years ago this weekend, Seinfeld aired its very first episode, the show about nothing that changed everything. Very interested to see this. Are you feeling a little old? I think that's been 35 years since Seinfeld first aired its first episode, became a cultural phenomenon, and dominated television right up to its end with it. And when many people thought it had many more seasons worth of viewership in it, they called it quits and never really returned to it. I would say this though, if NBC had their way and they could get even just a limited, like a Seinfeld movie or a Seinfeld like 10 episodes and call it good, I'm sure NBC would write whatever check they could to get a few new episodes of Seinfeld on it. But 35 years ago, the show first aired, becoming a cultural phenomenon. Speaking of TV networks, some interesting things are happening in the world of the CW. They reportedly basically want to become a sports network. Not 100%, they're not turning into ESPN. But Front Office Sports has reported that CW's president and senior vice president are discussing the network's strategic push into live sports, highlighting plans to acquire more college football bowl games and other sporting events. I've said this before, one of the main things that people still watch live TV for is sports, the number one thing I would say, with news being number two. And because of that, we're seeing more and more networks turn into sports networks. The CW is becoming heavy into sports, college sports, live golf, NASCAR, things on there, other content sports-wise also. And we're seeing True TV turn into a sports network with all of its original content ending. Now basically just a kind of a sub-channel of TNT airing a bunch of sports content with that. CBS is picking up all kinds of things like pickleball and other sports to offer sports on weekdays during prime time. Why? It's what people watch live. And when you watch it live, they can charge more for ads, growing their base. The CW seems to be pushing into that world, saying, hey, what sports is out there for us? As they've tiptoed into it, and now they seem ready to dive headfirst into sports. We'll keep an eye on it, but very interesting. 10 years ago, if you told me the CW would be a sports network, airing a ton of live sports as its main focus, probably wouldn't have believed you. But the CW today is very different than the CW a few years ago as it tries to respond to the world of cord cutting. All right, next up, Disney Plus has launched a new rewards program to keep you subscribed. Disney Plus Perks is a new plan here that gives you things like 3 months of free clear, which is the kind of jump the line in the airport. I used to use that when I traveled a lot, don't anymore. You can get 15% off of Funko, 20% off Adidas, 6 months of Dash Pass members from DoorDash, and all kinds of other benefits you can earn by just subscribing to Disney Plus. If you want to learn more about this and activate your Disney Plus perks, check out the show notes down below right there. A lot of good deals in it. Check it out. Speaking of good deals, our deal of the day. If you've been looking for a new wireless provider, Straight Talk has a new cord cutting package you may want to consider. Their new unlimited plan, starting at $55 a month, now includes free Walmart Plus, which also comes with free Paramount Plus at that price with it. Now that's the ad-supported version. For a few dollars a month, you can upgrade that to the ad-free on top of it. It's not a bad plan. $55 a month gives you unlimited talk, text, and data, 30 gigabytes of hotspot data, 100 gigabytes of cloud storage, and every year you get a $100 credit towards a new mobile device, and you can stack those up and every few years get a new one. Now, it does run on the Verizon network. Video data is capped at DVD quality on your phone, which honestly, that little screen, not a big deal. They do have a $65 plan, which includes device protection. So if you break your device, you have a warranty plan in there and unlimited hotspot data. Though that's not unlimited throttled. You're not going to get 100 gigs down on your hotspot, but it's more than enough to surf the web and send emails and do other things. I use it often for work when I need a hotspot for my laptop. Not a bad deal. If you're considering a new wireless plan, there's a lot of plans out there that offer streaming services. T-Mobile most famously. Verizon's got different options, and now Straight Talk does too. I'll be honest, it will not surprise me if increasingly your wireless plan becomes your one big bundle. With 5G home internet, someday we may even say, hey, pay us $100, you get your home internet, your wireless phone, your Netflix and Disney Plus or whatever other bundles you may have, all in one plan. I think wireless phone plans are going to become the new everything moving forward. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll be back again tomorrow with a new video. If you want to learn more about any of the stories I just talked about, again, links in the show notes and in the first pinned comment. Until then, take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.